From a malevolent Texas nurse to an Ohio predator lurking in the shadows, these chilling tales reveal that sinister killers still haunt our world. It's comforting to think that serial killers are relics of a bygone era. It's easy to believe that with Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and Jeffrey Dahmer all dead, Charles Manson rotting in his grave, and the Zodiac killer's case forever shrouded in mystery, we might think we live in a world free of such monsters. But the darkness still lurks among us, with murderers hiding in plain sight. Here are 10 killers who have haunted the new century, including some who still evade capture.
Welcome to Night and Day True Crimes. For more content like this, please thumbs up this video and subscribe.
In 2011, police in New York State were delving into the mysterious death of Shannon Gilbert, whose lifeless body was discovered near the eerie shores of Gilgo Beach on Long Island. But as they combed through the area, they stumbled upon a macabre grave filled with the remains of 4 women. A further grim search unearthed 6 more bodies, including a child and a man dressed in women's clothing, the New York Times reported. Police linked some of the dismembered body parts found in the grave to unidentified victims whose bodies were discovered miles away, stemming from unsolved crimes dating back to 1996, according to the Associated Press. Most of the victims are believed to be sex workers who advertised on Craigslist, but only a few of them have been positively identified. Among the victims was Melissa Barthelemy, who vanished from her home in the Bronx in 2009. Her desperate parents called the police, but authorities didn't take their concerns seriously until Barthelemy's little sister started receiving chilling phone calls from a mysterious number with a man saying, "I killed Melissa." Though there have been some leads, the shadowy killer remains at large. Since Darren Deon Vann was arrested in 2014 for the murder of a 19-year-old prostitute, he has confessed to killing at least 6 more women. But it wasn't the first time he'd been in trouble with the cops. Vann had been convicted of aggravated rape in 2009 in Texas, and after serving a total of 5 years, he returned to his home state of Indiana in July 2013. There he killed 19-year-old Africa Hardy, strangling her and leaving her body in the bathtub of a motel room. But he was caught on surveillance cameras, and when police questioned him, he admitted to killing 6 more women. Soon, he led investigators to bodies that he had left in abandoned buildings around Gary, Indiana. In addition to murder charges, Vann faces counts of rape, attempted murder, and criminal confinement, and is facing the death penalty for his crimes. In 2015, the skeletal remains of 4 souls were unearthed behind a desolate Connecticut strip mall, a grim reminder of the horrors that lurk in the shadows. This macabre discovery was made in the same forsaken stretch of land where 3 other bodies had been exhumed back in 2007, a place tainted by death. Authorities believe these heinous acts were committed by one man, William Devin Howell, a drifter already imprisoned for the brutal slaying of Nilsa Arizmendia, who vanished after being seen entering a van in 2003, never to be seen alive again. Her blood was later found in Howell's 1985 Ford Econoline, a vehicle he chillingly referred to as his murder mobile, a rolling tomb of terror. It was within this macabre chamber that he allegedly slept beside the lifeless bodies of his victims, enveloped in the stench of death. The police were led to Howell after his cellmate revealed the existence of a sinister garden where Howell buried his victims, all of whom vanished in 2003, while Howell roamed the New Britain, Connecticut area, leaving a trail of despair. Howell confessed to the manslaughter of Arizmendia in 2007 and is now serving a 15-year sentence, a mere fraction of the torment he inflicted. The trial for the 6 other murders looms on the horizon, possibly delayed until 2018, as the state meticulously processes the harrowing evidence, each piece a testament to the darkness within. A shadow of death loomed over Brooklyn as a sinister force targeted Middle Eastern shopkeepers in their places of work. The police eventually unmasked the killer Salvatore Perrone, a broken man whose life had crumbled after his family abandoned him. Perrone prowled the darkened streets of Brooklyn, carrying a sinister kill kit in a black duffel bag. Inside were screwdrivers, switchblades, a blood-stained 8-inch serrated knife, 3 ladies' blouses, latex gloves, bottles of bleach, wire cutters, and a loaded sawed-off rifle. When they searched his home, they uncovered a macabre basement lair filled with ammunition, a 12-gauge shotgun, and duct tape. The jury took less than 30 minutes to seal Perrone's fate, dubbed the Son of Sal for the brutal slayings of 3 Brooklyn shopkeepers. He received the harshest punishment, 75 years to life in a cold, unforgiving prison. In 2011, Israel Keys, a former soldier with a dark past, turned off his cell phone and boarded a plane to Chicago, his mind set on a sinister mission. He then drove a rental car all the way to Vermont, paying cash for all his expenses to remain a ghost. There, he unearthed a murder kit he had buried in 2009, a chilling testament to his premeditated evil. With his tools of terror in hand, he selected a couple at random and executed them with cold precision. In 2012, in Anchorage, Alaska, he abducted and murdered 18-year-old Samantha Koenig and tormented her family with cruel texts, photographs, and debit card withdrawals, creating the illusion she was still alive. His reign of terror ended when he was captured in Texas and extradited to Alaska to face charges of rape, kidnapping, and murder. He confessed to slaying 4 individuals in Washington state and another in New York, leaving a trail of blood and fear. Suspected of even more heinous acts, Keys took his own life in his jail cell, escaping earthly justice forever. The lifeless bodies of Sherelda Terry, Angela Deskins, and Shatisha Sheely were discovered grotesquely wrapped in garbage bags, discarded like refuse in the East Cleveland neighborhood of Glenville in July 2013. Their bodies bore the marks of unspeakable torture, mutilation, and strangulation. At least one had been violated, authorities revealed. The remains were found hauntingly close to the lair of registered sex offender Michael Madison, a man with a sinister past, convicted in 2002 of attempted rape, according to the Associated Press. Madison was apprehended and confessed to the heinous acts, showing no remorse for the horrors he inflicted. In court, Madison's demeanor was chilling. He taunted and smiled at the grieving families, a sinister display of his twisted nature. The sight was too much for Vann, the father of one of the victims. Overcome with rage and sorrow, he attacked Madison from the witness stand. "I guess we are supposed to find it in our hearts to forgive this monster," Terry said in a video that quickly went viral. That's when the grieving father saw Madison's sinister smirk and snapped, lunging across the courtroom to attack the unrepentant killer. For his monstrous crimes, Madison was sentenced to death, a grim end for a man who brought so much darkness into the world. In the shadows of Phoenix, Arizona, a sinister figure lurks, leaving a trail of blood and terror. 7 lives have been brutally extinguished, and 2 more hang by a thread. The killer strikes with a semi-automatic shotgun, unleashing chaos and death. His victims are chosen without rhyme or reason. Men and women, young and old, all fall prey to his merciless rampage. The predominantly Latino Maryvale neighborhood has become his hunting ground. His first known victim, a 16-year-old boy, was gunned down in cold blood. The boy was left bleeding on the city streets on the night of March 17, 2016. The very next night, a 21-year-old was shot, adding to the growing list of casualties. In a horrifying escalation, the killer unleashed over 30 rounds into a car where 12-year-old Malaya Ellis, her mother Stephanie, and family friend Angela Linner sat, ending their lives in a hail of bullets. The police are left grasping at straws with only a vague description of the suspect, a light-skinned Latino or white man in his 20s. As reported by CNN, a $30,000 reward is on the table for anyone who can help bring this harbinger of death to justice. Between 1985 and 2007, Lonnie David Franklin Jr. may have brutally ended the lives of 25 women and possibly dozens, even hundreds more. He's infamously known as the Grim Sleeper for taking a chilling 14-year hiatus from his killing spree from 1988 to 2002, though it seems he might not have rested at all. Unlike his notorious peers like the Hillside Strangler or the Night Stalker, Franklin lurked in the shadows, preying on women on the fringes of society, including drug addicts and prostitutes, often discarding their lifeless, naked bodies in dark alleys or on desolate roadsides. According to the Los Angeles Times, when police raided Franklin's home in 2010, they uncovered even more haunting images of women, naked with their eyes closed, suggesting that the extent of Franklin's monstrous crime spree could be far more horrifying than previously imagined. Franklin was convicted of the murders of 10 women and sentenced to death in June of this year. The small town of Chillicothe, Ohio, has been haunted by the disappearance of 6 women, many of whom were mothers of small children. Charlotte Trago, a young mother of 2, was the first to disappear. She has not been seen since her mother dropped her off at her apartment in early May 2014. A year later, 26-year-old Tiffany Sayre was on her way to the Chillicothe Inn when she disappeared. Her body was discovered wrapped in a sheet in a culvert in a nearby county. 6 women have disappeared in all, though only 4 bodies can be found. 2 years on, there are few answers or leads in the case. While the families of the victims are confident that the cases are linked, police aren't as certain. Still, they haven't ruled anything out, including the possibility that a serial killer is on the loose. Authorities assembled a task force, which includes members of the FBI, the county sheriff's department, and local authorities to study the series of tragedies. Suspected serial killer Neil Falls, who was killed by an escort he attacked in 2015, may be linked to the crimes, while police believe a convicted torturer named Ernest Dollar Bill Moore may have information about the missing 6 women. But for now, there are no answers for the families of the victims or the terrified town. Noted town wallflower Vickie Jackson may have killed as many as 20 people between December 2000 and February 2001 and attempted 5 more, but her name never earned the household recognition outside her small town. The North Texas hospital where Jackson worked as a nurse was plagued by a rash of respiratory deaths, but because the patients were all elderly, the deaths were not considered suspicious until administrators realized several vials of mevacurium chloride, a powerful drug used to temporarily paralyze a patient's ability to breathe, had gone missing. Investigators eventually focused on Jackson after the hospital administration realized that she'd been the last one in the dead patients' rooms, and that she'd begun saying she'd take care of unruly hospital guests. Just over 2 months after her killing spree began, a syringe with traces of the drug was found in her garbage. But it took over a year until July 2002 for Jackson to be arrested. In 2006, she pleaded no contest to charges that she took the lives of 10 people, but never admitted her guilt. She is now serving a life sentence, and as of last year was seeking a new trial.